You're welcome to another great episode of the Lagos Panorama Incisive interview segment, The Facing Facts. Today we have a guest, an aspirant for the Eti-Osa Federal Constituency, and I'm talking of no other than architect Azeez Adegoke Rasaki.
Thank you.
You're welcome onto the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure meeting you.
All right. For the benefit of our wide audience out there, I want you to make a formal introduction of yourself.
Okay, that's very good. My name is Azeez Adegoke Rasaki. I am 41 years old. I am an architect, and I used to work for the federal agency. Before that, I used to work for UBA, and I live in Eti-Osa. I've always lived in Eti-Osa, and I've done most of my work there in terms of like community development projects and even businesses. So it's natural that I wanted to represent that area. My father is from Oyo State. He's the former Lagos State governor, military administrator, you call it. Of Lagos State and also Ogun State as well. And my mother is a former first lady, obviously in one way you can call her that, of the two states, as well as the former senator of Ekiti Central Senatorial District. And she's also a barrister, so she's a lawyer as well. So I think that's pretty much my background I can want to tell you. I'm married. I am married. I finally had a kid, and I'm very, very happy about it. We're growing a family, and we hope the family will expand even more than that.
Wow, yeah. Fine. They're not too young to run. Has created a lot, most especially the last general election, 2019. Created a lot of agitation from our youth, and a constituency you are representing. Yes. What do you think? Let me put it this way: do you think the Nigerian youth are ready to take the mantle of leadership, considering yourself that you are aspiring?
Well, there is no one time that the Nigerian youth were not ready. It's just that we have mostly put our energies or focus our energies in the wrong place when we talk about taking leadership roles. Whilst the politicians or the so-called old politicians were digging their foot in and locking in the political parties and those kind of things, our youths were not really engaged as much as they were meant to be. But lately, with the NSAS, with the political agitation, the economic and political situations of the country, a lot of them have taken notice, and people like me have taken a lot of notice as well. In fact, I can say in 2016, 2017, we're already on the scene. We're already building ourselves through the party, but it's not a one-day job. It's something that takes time before we get to that level where even those party hierarchies will give us that ability.
Sure.
So, and also another thing is that if you talk about whether we're ready or not, there's plenty of us out there. It's just that most of us feel that we will not be given that chance. And I hope that even my candidacy shows that no, you can be given the chance. And if you are ready to dig in your heels and do the right things. So we need to make sure that it doesn't fail. We need to readjust the system and then make it work for everybody, not just for a few of us. So that's what spurred the aspiration to go to the House of Representatives, because we believe that we can do a lot more by changing the system itself so that it can give more youths the opportunity. So somebody's got to take the sacrifice.
Yes.
Okay.
For you aspiring, do you have any antecedents with the party hierarchy to have given you the confidence, because you are going through the party primaries? I think it's about 10 million naira, which in the Nigerian economy, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
And for you to have the confidence to go and pick the form.
I can confidently tell you that we are very, very popular. Our campaign last time was basically all inspiring. The party was behind it. In fact, everybody was really, everybody wanted us just to change one person's life or two people's lives. We want to use that. That's why we're actually willing to invest that money to actually change a lot of people's lives, not just one or two. So yes, it's a lot of money, but I believe if we can sacrifice it and we can know that we can change a lot of people's life, then it's worth it.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Most recently, the national leader of the APC, who himself is presidential hopeful of the party, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, make it categorically that go and test your popularity at the polls. So he's throwing it open for everyone, because himself is going to face same challenge at the top there. Is this a kind of does this inspire you? And I want to equally add this to you, that were you also inspired or mentored the fact that your father was a former governor, though military had, and you have a mother who was also a senator? Has this make any impact in your life?
Definitely. There's no way one's father, especially of that status, wouldn't have made any impact on you. I mean, literally from the integrity that you must have, from the discipline you must display, all of those contribute to your character. And my father is always somebody that, character is everything to him. You must show your character. Must be on point at all times. The name Rasaki is a synonymous name all over Lagos State, if not all over Nigeria. And to carry that name and throw it into politics, and they always say politics is a dirty game, so people will drag your name through the mud and everything. And thank God people have not been able to drag their name through the mud, because of the integrity and the character and the discipline that he has installed into me. So they cannot drag my name, and nobody, I think, will even try to attempt to do that, because there's not much to drag there. You understand? And it's something that I want to take on further forward. And I don't want, of course, if something that is going to affect my name, I will never do it. But if I know that my name can withstand all these rigorous things, then we should do it, because we're making a sacrifice for others. You understand? It's not as if we're looking for anything else. We're just looking for the development of the nation, and we're looking for the development of our communities. And we actually want to contribute our quota. So when you talk about my mom, she's a politician. You understand? She's a true politician. In fact, she probably got it from my grandfather. Our grandfather was a major political figure back in those days. In fact, they burnt his house down in Ibadan, and he had to basically, leave the town. But I think she inherited it, and out of all of us, I inherited it from her. So, and I've always been politically active. I've always been, boisterous about what I believe in and my ideologies. And it is very important that I know I have an outlet to express that. And one of the outlets I used to express, apart from doing charities here and there and political activities here and there, I joined the politics in order to make sure that those aspirations are realized as well. So it just not be a pipe dream somewhere that's sitting at home. Get your PVC, get out there, join a party, and make sure that the candidate that comes out is the right candidate. So that's what I've gone to go and do, and I found out that I am also a good candidate as well, because I don't think there's anybody else that is not a good candidate, but those who are not able, some of them are not able to come out and actually say, you know what, I want to run for this position. Some of them are still busy twiddling that thumb, and I don't believe that's the way forward. I believe if you want to change the system, you have to do it yourself. You can't wait for others to do it for you. If I see a better candidate than me, trust me, I will go and support that candidate, and I expect everybody else to do the same. So yeah.
Right now, there's an incumbent who equally is a youth.
Yeah.
What do you have for the people of Eti-Osa federal constituency for them to be able to sway their vote for you as against the incumbent?
Well, to be honest with you, yes, I know the incumbent. The incumbent is is a youth as well, which rightly so. You see, we all have different philosophies and different ideologies, and he has his own methods on how he wants to accomplish things. Understand? What he has done so far, I don't believe is that bad, but I believe we could do better. You understand? Okay. I believe that there's some certain aspects that we are lacking. Everybody has individual, like I said, characteristics. In politics, you have those who can, yes, administratively work. You understand? And then you have those who can be on ground to make sure that administrative work actually gets to the people and gets them motivated and, creates the momentum to create further change. But you can't do that, just sitting in Abuja. You understand? Which is what we currently had. And I believe that if we had more one-on-one interaction, more on ground, closer to the grassroots, that would really, really projected a lot of differences, and people might be able to get their voice heard as well, because you can't just listen to your own voice and say, oh, don't worry, they'll be okay with whatever I dish out. But what I want to do, what I propose to do, is make sure I'm in touch with the grassroots, make sure I'm in touch with my constituents, make sure that they hear my voice, make sure I hear their voice too. You understand? If I want to do something, I want them to be able to be a part of it. When we do something, we ask them, what else do you want? You understand? That question must always come back after it. And I believe that my representation is going to be different, because I know the area more, I know the people more, I know their characteristics. I've been working with them for a longer time. You understand? So it's not about when you join the politics, it's about what you know about your own community and what your community needs, and can you solve it, and what are the things that you need to solve it. You know, a lot of problem that we have right now is a federal based problem. NSAS was a federal based problem. Most of the white papers, if you see most of the requests, most of the demands, they are out of the purview of the governor. They were in the purview of who? The president. Yes, the federal government. So that is where we need to focus our attention. And then when we did have the NSAS, you can ask yourself, who was our representative? Why wasn't he there? Where was the voice when we needed it? In fact, a lot of those things could have been avoided if we had just somebody just stand up amongst all them. Understand? And I hope to be that person.
Yes, I asked earlier that recently the national leader Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who happens to be a presidential hopeful of the party also, just make a declaration at the stakeholders party here in Lagos that everybody should go and face their popularity at the poll. Does this have any impact on you?
Of course.
Are you ready to go to the poll?
Of course.
Or you like to be a consensus candidate?
Oh, no. You see, I've never been a fan of consensus candidacy, because it just throws democracy out of the way. And what he said, what our leader said, was the beauty of democracy itself. You know, let the majority carry the day. Let the people's will carry forward. And if he can say that, if he can sit down and say, between all these people, even though he contributed to the party, built the party, helped to put it together, and worked for the party, even if he has to go to the poll, then who is anybody else to disagree? You understand? Unless you don't want a democracy, and then you want an authoritarianism or some kind of quasi-democracy, I'm not for that. I believe that if you want democracy, let the masses, let the people, even the leaders should let the members of the party actually dictate what happens, because that is the beauty. Then you get the popular candidate everybody can put their energy behind. You understand? Most of the time we end up with people that are not popular. Where is our problems? Where is our policies that don't happen in the constituency? Because those people don't really care about those people, because they found out that they got through the back way or the other, so they don't actually take the constituency into consideration. So therefore they don't work for the constituency, they work for those leaders. And that's what we need to stop. We need to start working for the constituency. And as Asiwaju has told us, go and work for them.
Test your popularity.
Test your popularity. Go work for your constituencies. So very, very important that we actually get that done. Yeah. So he's a Democrat in the truest sense.
Yes. You earlier make mention about some challenges at Eti-Osa. What are the challenges? Can you spotlight them? And what are your plans for to rectify such challenges?
You know, earlier I mentioned the fact that we wanted to bring a better representation, and the better representation has to be based on something that you're trying to solve. You understand? So, for example, now this one especially is something that bothers me. The people of Eti-Osa, as a whole, we have various different areas that how do I put it now, have their various cultural and social, economical and alignments. You understand? And the problem we are having is that Eti-Osa as a whole is expanding, it's getting too big. I believe one of the things that we need to do is we need to first of all solve the problem of representation. How do we represent Eti-Osa? Eti-Osa has one House of Rep member. I believe there should be 2. He has 2 state assembly. I believe there should be 4. This part of the constitution must be rectified. Lagos is too big with the amount of population and everybody inside it. It's too big for us to have just the amount of 20 local governments. We need more than that. We need to turn some LCDs into local government. Baba Tinubu had the right idea. The follow through is the only problem that we're having today. APC as a party must fulfill that mandate. That mandate is on their head now, and we need to get that done. And the only way we can do it is at the federal level. So if Kano can have 40 local governments, Lagos should have at least 40 local governments too. You understand? If not more than that. But I will accept 40. You understand? But we should get more House of Reps. I believe that is also very important because Lagos needs better representation at the federal level. Because we have not been an economic hub of the entire nation, the capital of the entire nation in terms of economy and the population as well. We need a better representation because a lot of people here are depending on the federal government to actually intervene in a lot of problems that we're having. For example, now I can go further down into Eti-Osa as a whole. You understand? Look at Victoria Island. You understand? We have a constituency basically broken into two. You understand? It is split down the middle. You have constituency 1 and constituency 2. Part of Victoria Island is inside constituency 1. Part of it is inside constituency 2. Meanwhile, we could easily have just done it in a way that we can join based on what is happening on ground. Join Victoria Island and Ikoyi-Oba Alende together and have one big constituency, for example, including Takwa Bay. You understand? Have one big constituency there. Now, on the other side, we could even add Lekki to that, to Victoria Island, so that there'll be a residential area to the commercial area. We won't think about the display of this, or should I say, the separation of living spaces and the economic spaces and how they impact our society as well. So definitely we should add like Lekki, we should add Marwa, all those places to Victoria Island, and then from there, from Freedom Way, add it up, and then basically to Takwa Bay, then to Ikoyi-Oba Alende, all the way down to Dolphin, Banana Island. That will be one constituency. You understand? Which will have a federal house of rep that represent them and their interests. The people of Lekki are different from the people for Ikate. The people of Ikate are different from the people for Ikota. The people of Ikota are different from the people from Aja. The Aja is different from people from Sogotedo. Before you get to the back of Badore, all those places are different from each other, all the way down to Ogombo. We have a lot of problems and a lot of challenges, but we need a representation for each and every different areas. Although the House of Rep member, having an extra House of Rep member, will solve a lot of challenges and bring the actual governance back down to the people itself and help to bring the federal government closer. As for the state assembly, having 2 state assembly, people are saying, why are you having 2 state assembly? It's so necessary because you need a state assembly that will take care of the people from VI, Takwa Bay VI, all the way down to that Ikate level. Then Ikate will now have their own House of Rep member, state assembly member, all the way down to let's say that VGC Aja area, because they are also a constituency of their own, because they have a lot of people in that area and a lot of estates are coming up, a massive load of population and people are going to be there. And then you now have from Abraham Adesoya down to Songotedo, all the way back to Badore, all those are developing area behind ShopRite. Lots of people that need representation, that need government to intervene in their lives. Okunwaja, all those places, there's a lot of water erosions and those kind of things that federal government can work on with the state government. But I don't believe it's a problem that can be solved with them, because it costs a lot of money to solve that kind of problem. But why don't we bring in the private entities? I have friends, I have people that I know that they are willing to throw their money down. You understand? In return, they get something back. We can do like a joint venture, or we can do like concessions. Use Sandfield back all these erosion spaces. Let the community have their part, let the government have their part, and then let the investor himself have his own part. That is easy. We can solve a lot of problems that way. We don't need federal government to all the time throw money at it through the budget or anything. It takes too long for that. Let's get a concession from them. Let's get a concession from the minister. Let's get a concession from the governor. Let's get the business community together and say, look, here we are, we have a project and we want you to create land for us. You understand? Or reclaim this property back for us. In return, we give you so and so amount of the property, and then we give the community that was displaced, we give them back their own portion of the land, and then the rest of the Lagos state government for them to also give out to new and new and better development programs that might come along the way, and also for them to make a little bit of money so that they can obviously fund a lot of these things and obviously put infrastructure in those areas too. Very, very important. Takwa Bay is another area that I mentioned earlier. Takwa Bay has a lot of problems, and to be honest with you, it's a tragedy what is happening in Takwa Bay. Takwa Bay has a problem in terms of like, you have multinational companies, oil and gas companies, you know, foreign freight companies, these gas companies and those kind of things, all situated on an island, displacing the indigenous people there, and they're not giving them anything back in return. Imagine removing somebody's house completely and then telling them to go and find work. Then the guy now turns around and starts bunkering. I'm not saying it's a good thing for them to do. They start bunkering to make a living because you cut off the very essence of them, you know, of their living, of their, or should I say, you cut off their social life. You cut off their ways on the means of livelihood, and then you expect them not to steal from you or to find a way to survive when you have not provided anything. And another thing that they do, which I want to bring attention is that most of these corporations and companies, they do a lot of the services to the Nigerian people, especially those in the communities, the local communities. You understand? You don't even give them jobs. You don't give them technical training and those kind of things, because if you say they're not qualified, then I propose you train them. Train these people. You understand? Give them the means for them to actively participate in this growth of your company. I guarantee you even be, as a company, you'll be how do I put it, celebrated more, and there'll be a rooting with you and that community that you are yes, the space of the community you're occupying. That is very important. You understand? Apart from, and I can name a few companies, Lador, you understand, and a few of the other LNG companies, you know, they're all out there. And
so are you saying as the House of Rep for Eti-Osa federal constituency, you are going to agitate, you are going to stand at the forefront for the people to make sure that they are carried along?
Oh yes, the people must get represented. You must give them that job. I don't care what it takes. I'll keep bringing attention to it until something is done about it. In fact, I'll make it front page. That is the whole point of your representation. You're more than just a lawmaker, like we said earlier. You need to actually be at the forefront of the struggle of these communities. You need to make sure that these communities are number one, taken care of. Number one, taken care of. Number two, taken care of. Number three, taken care of. Because that is the whole point of you being there. You're not there for anything else apart from that. You can make laws for them, but it's all part of taking care of them. So you must take care of them. You must represent them. You must be their voice. You must stand there in the foreground, because let me not lie to you, they've given you all that power for you to stand and speak for them, talk their mind, agitate for them, so that the federal government in its big capacity will listen. And if you drag that kind of attention down, as a member of the House of Representatives, drag that attention down and lays bills on the floor in order to solve those problems, the federal government will take notice.
Sure,
they will take notice. This is not a matter of going to the bills. This is a matter of calling the companies and sitting them on the floor of the house and say, look, what is happening in this community? You need to do better than this. No, out of the 100 jobs, you can't give 90 away to foreigners. No, I think it should be the reverse. These communities should have most of the jobs. You can train them. It's not as if they are not beyond training. You understand? And if you don't have the skilled labor, then let's create the skilled labor for you so that you can actually engage these people. And that's the way forward. If you want to stop all these issues of agitation, you engage these people. You can't just wish them away. They're not going to go away. You understand? And if you try to wish them away, well, let's see how that has been. Let's see how that has been going so far. You understand? So that is one of those things. And if I come back again also to another issue of the NSAS, I told you that representation. If somebody has stood forward at that point, imagine a House of Rep standing forward at that point in time and saying, hey, I am with you, I hear you, I understand what you want, I'm going to propose it to the federal government. The governor cannot solve this problem. It is a federal issue. Yes, part of it is state, but most of it is federal issue. Police brutality, unemployment, bad governance, all of these are federal issue. If he had stood there at that point in time, the massacre, tragic as it is, would never have happened. And if somebody wants to say, oh, no massacre happened, well, you're on your own.
So be it.
You're on your own.
All right.
Evidence.
All right. He's been facing fight with architects Azeez Adegoke Rasaki, make mention of charity work that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Can you please elucidate on this?
Oh yeah, I used to work in Better Life for rural women. Okay. I even have a certificate from them basically showing that I have worked a lot of them. It was a really popular program that used to, help people, help women in the rural areas, give them empowerment, jobs, and it really, got them into activities. Just look, we had this culture and mentality back then, women just sit at home. No, that changed with the Better Life. Better Life was everywhere. And it was a good program. It's a shame that we lost that program from the military era. I know people say, "Oh, military era," but there's some good things that the military actually did, and we need to acknowledge that. And if we can replicate that today, I believe that Nigeria will be on a better course than where we were before. But I'm not saying that the military rule was great, but I'm saying that some of the ideas was good. And what we do is that we take good ideas, we join them with good in policies, and we make our way forward. You can't just criticize something and say it's bad, So you're just calling a dog a bad name because you want to, ridicule it. Yeah. So.
All right. On a final note, most of our legislators believe they are just there to make law for the people. You have talked about reaching out to the people, closeness to the people.
Yeah.
The common man out there from Eti-Osa Federal Constituency want Rasaki to convince him in simple words why he should vote for you, even at the general election. Just paraphrase it in very simple terms.
Well, with Rasaki, you always get action on ground. You understand? It's not somebody that will just be like words. This will be directly in your face. I will be in your house. I'll be on the phone. You will hear me and I will hear you. You understand? So we're going to have that interaction. We're going to have those town halls. We're going to have those those information and dissemination of information down to you, so that you know what is going on, you know what is happening. And we're not looking to go and, if you know the kind of person I am, I'm not going there to go and sit down there and become chairman or honorable. I don't even care for the title. What I care for is the development, and I know you're going to get that development if I was your rep, because I will not rest. Because I'm one of those people that is, if anything, I'm very stubborn about my ways, and I want to get things done. I will go after it and I'll get it done. You understand? Anybody that knows me knows that about me. You understand? And I want my constituents to know one thing. Rasaki is action. Action is Rasaki. You get what you, and what you see is what you get. So you get your representation. We'll make sure that we make enough noise. We bring the representatives down to you. It's not just about making laws, but actually drawing attention to things that are really important to your lives. Understand? Such as from the economic factor all the way down to the social factor. These are the things that we need to focus on. The federal government to do a lot better than where we are today. And God willing, we'll be there and we'll make sure that that action comes down to you.
All right, we'll make sure that that action comes down to you at Eti-Osa Federal Constituency.
Yes.
It's not me that says so, but your honorable architect Azeez Adegoke Rasaki. It's really nice talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure.